So obviously now I'm pretty tired after removing all of that stuff, and I'm gonna pop the give it a little clean and then pop the new arm into position. I'll put some cardboard underneath it just to keep it safe, and see if I can get those back bushes in, bush mountings in first, and then you raise it up and do the other bits. Right, so you just got the reversal of what we've done already, which is just wiggle this back in to sort of get it at the right angle, roughly, and start wiggling it around. Find it best to get this chap in first on the front. Just makes it a little bit easier. The captive nut on the rear, we're just going to use that technique to get it in. You have to just wiggle around till you get the hole in the right place. Find that once you've got that one in, it's easy to line up the other side. Make sure that's nicely through. And then I'm going to put a nut on the end to stop it from falling out again from wiggling it, if I'm wiggling it around. So these fixings all came in the kit that I bought from Advanced Factors. Comparing them to the Land Rover ones, they all look pretty much the same. They all look the same kind of material, so I'm not fussed about that. I don't think the fixings necessarily have to be Land Rover ones. Which clips them at the back. Right, so with the screwdriver pushed in there, it keeps this nice, well, it doesn't stop it from moving completely, but it keeps it a lot stiller than if you just relied on that. What I found is if you don't put something in there to hold it, as you're trying to tighten up the nut, it just pings out again. So that's nipped up. That's good. I've got everything in place. So I found that once those bottom ones are on, the arms can be swung round and refitted. So you want to do it so everything can still move, because in order to tighten these bolts we have to get the car to the right normal right height, which is 485mm. The other thing I found last time as well is just to point out that the handbrake cable holder is bolted on here, and on both of these arms the thread has been concealed, so I've had to stick a M8 tap into there, just tap it out a little bit, make sure that the bolt goes in, because on the other side it didn't, I just couldn't bolt it in, so I had to do it with this mounted on here. But this time I'm wise, so I've done it when the arm was off on the workbench, and that means that this time the bolt's going to go straight in. Just a little piece of advice: if you've got probably a Land Rover one would work fine. They would have thought of it, but on a non-standard or a non-genuine Land Rover part, just check that. Another problem I had last time was this suspension strut, which I found incredibly hard to get back in. So what I did is I used a ratchet strap to pull it towards the chassis, so that I could then push down on the arm, which is got some movement in it, to get the bolt through. I'm just not. Some people say put your leg on it and push it. I'm just not strong enough to do it. It's part perks of being on dialysis is that you lose your strength, but the ratchet strap just pulls it across enough for it to enable it, and that works quite nicely. The other step that I'll do as well before I jack up the suspension to tighten the nuts is that I will deflate the suspension with my iCar soft tool thing. It lets you take the air out of the suspension, so it makes it easier to jack up. Otherwise you can't get it up to 485. It just starts lifting it off the axle stands, which is obviously dangerous, and you don't want to be jacking too much of the car's weight under the suspension arm. So I will do that as well before I jack it up. Right, I saved you the excitement of me putting the ratchet in there. So we've got a ratchet here. It's just pulling this back. As you can see, it's nicely in line now, and then I've just got to push the suspension arm down a bit, see if I can get the bolt in. So that's my exciting job now. This is taking me a lot less time than it took previously, because I got wise when I did the other side, and hopefully this will help someone else save themselves a whole load of grief. There you go. Easy peasy. This has taken me a lot less time just through working out a couple of techniques. So always encourage everyone who's an amateur mechanic to plan ahead. I usually pretty good actually, but the other side rear one did really do me in, but this one it's only taken me sort of half a day. So result. I'll just nip up the rose joint as well while I'm here. Hopefully that's nice and straightforward. Right, so let's have a look. A reassessment of what we got. We've got one at the back and another one at the back. Here's sort of here. We've got our special device to hold the cage in place to stop the nut spinning. We've got our suspension strut in, and then we've got our anti-roll bar link started. I'll finish that up later, and then the rose joint down here. It's a bit awkward to see. There it is. Right. Sorry about the poor camera work. I'm not a filmmaker really. Okay. We've got our track rod arm to put back on as well. A bit of glue goes onto that, but we're all happy. The main problem that I'll get is that I can't do up the nuts to sort of proper torque, particularly the 300 Newton meter one here, just because I'm so weak. So I will just hammer that back on with my torque gun. Probably get told off in the comments, but there you go. This one at the back is actually not too bad. I've got the torques written down, and then this one is supposed to be quite a high torque, which again I can't do. So I'll probably use the tighten it up with the 2 spanners and then give it a bit of a impact gun. I'm working old-fashioned foot-pounds. So this front bush is 129 foot-pound. The rear bush is 203, the rose joint, which is down here, this fella. That is 98, so that's not very high. Shock absorber is 221, which is the one I have problems with because I can't do it up that tight. Anti-roll link's 85, which is very straightforward, and the toe link, which is dropped down here, toe link is 129, which I can do. So these 129s I can do. The higher ones I have trouble with, so I'll probably just use my impact gun to sort those out. They'll be tight enough. The other thing I've got to do as well is get us raised up to ride height, which I'll do in the background now. So the rear bolt I can get up to 129. So I'm just going to do that, and then I'm going to move to the generally move around the other bolts. What was the rose joint? The rose joint was only 98, so that's easy. These ones have to be tightened when the ride height is set to normal, 485mm, because otherwise they prematurely age, so you don't want that to happen. Like I said, I'm going to cheat with this one. I'm going to get my torque, my impact driver on there, and I'm going to just finish it off with a bit of impact. I know it's probably the wrong thing to do, but I'm just too weak, so I can't do it up tight enough. And this one has to be done up to 203 foot-pounds, which is just a lot. The shock absorber is even more, that's 221. So again, last time I just did it with the impact driver, but because of the way last time I did it, I didn't have my access to here because I hadn't really moved out the stuff from underneath. So I recommend that to anyone, to remove that splash guard, take the spare wheel out, and you can almost, you know, sit under there. You can push this down with your hand because I've taken off the rubber mounting, and it just gives you that little bit of room to get an impact driver onto that nut, which is the problematic one, I would have thought, for most people. I better break a bar as well. So that is at a torque of bloody tight. Not sure that's official, but there you go. Right, I just made a replacement bit for the bar at the back of this splash guard because it sheared off when I undid the bolt. So that was so rusty, so I just got a piece of aluminium, made another one. I've got a couple of stainless steel bolts to put on it. I know it's kind of probably too little too late, but it'll solve that. The other issue was that the rivets that were holding it in on the outer edges had also snapped off and corroded, so I'm going to re-rivet it, and I will just get the stubs out of those. I've drilled those out, so there you go. Right, so I've got my shield on the back again. Not a very exciting thing to watch, I'm sure, but I just riveted it back and put a couple of stainless steel bolts on it and nuts in the middle. Keep it on properly. I'm going to lower down and finish off. Once that's done, I've got to do up the drop link, and then we are completed. Put the wheel back on, take the axle stands off, just take the car for a test drive and see what I think. But other than that, there you go. How to replace the lower rear suspension arm on a Discovery 3, even if you are in a weak and feeble condition.